we have a toxic relationship with ourselves. Begin with the truth because you're going to end up with it. Man, I mean, let's go ahead and do more of this before the accounting department realizes they're paying us this much. I couldn't believe they were paying me that much. You're like, well, it's not working for me. Well, you knew that from the get-go because you stick around for a while, the right people will show up. And run with it. Like, whatever your stop is, there's nothing wrong with stopping. If your filters are off and you're recruiting the wrong people, it'll just be a revolving door. But if you get intentional about the people that you're looking for and your vibrations are correct, you're intentional, you're always going to find the right people. The question is, do you have enough horsepower to last? Are you a 2-cylinder or are you a V8? All right, Matt FFL Haven, Real Talk. So we're just talking about the ways to identify where you are in the progress. Here's what we know. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. So you got to be able to grow. And here's what I'm telling you. If you're taking notes, we're talking in general about how to build a successful business. What I wish I knew had I been 3 years backwards. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Go for growth, not for money. I know we all need the money. We all got in for the money. But here's what we know. If you don't go for growth, you'll quit before you even begin because you don't think you're going anywhere. But if you can gauge that you're getting better little by little, that's the power. And the truth is, success, whether it be here in any business, it's about the small little, they call it slight edge decisions, the slight edge efforts you make. And if you can get excited about the slight edge decisions, the small things, it's game over. Because the challenge is you wait for the results. And that's when you think you get excited. But the truth is the successful, like for me, when I get all flustered, it's because I'm just focused on the wrong thing. But you know what gets me excited? But when I can track back how each decision I'm making goes back to my present. And if it's simply as something as simple as, if I get up today, that means I'll do this and this and this, man, I will be like on the top of my chair, rooting and hollering because I know that that's going to lead that way. So short answer, short version of what I'm saying is, here's the Haven 12, y'all. The Haven 12, do you submit to the process? 100 appointments. Every week start off. Are you committed to running 100 appointments? Good, bad, or indifferent? If you're committed to running it, give yourself a 10. That means that you are committed to becoming an expert. It takes 100 appointments here for you to become an expert. By 100 appointments, you would have seen every client, pretty much tackled every situation. There's nothing that you wouldn't have experienced and know how to at least handle somewhat. If you're not committed to 100 appointments, give yourself a 0. Let's just be real, okay? There's no 5. If you're saying maybe, I don't know, maybe to be nice to you, give yourself a 5. But the truth is, if you say maybe, I think you shouldn't even start because this requires, I'm talking commitment, and it requires dedication, okay? What does it require? It doesn't require anything special as far as skills. You got to believe in you. That's really what it requires. And some of us, we try to deflect that it's FFL, it's this, it's that. No, it's you. And if you came here with no belief in yourself, we can carry you, but I'm going to give you the elixir of how you can fix that. Because at the end of the day, the secret sauce is you. You are the secret sauce that makes this thing work. So committed to 100 appointments. Invest in leads weekly. Real talk. If you cannot invest in leads weekly, you won't win. So are you committed to invest in leads weekly? If you're part-time, again, $500 a week, full-time, $1,000 a week. If that scares the hell out of you, you got to ask yourself those questions. Why is that? You know, is it because money is tight and so forth? And by the way, if I don't go over it, remind me to answer how to start this business from scratch with 0. Remind me to answer that. So if you're committed to doing that, give yourself a 10. If not, give yourself a 5. And this is real for I'm talking whether you're brand new or whether you are seasoned. If you're not able to ask yourself these questions and literally reevaluate yourself, I'm talking just Like, as if you're brand new, you're not going to win because you can't win on last week's news. It isn't about what you did last week and how much AP you did. It's about this week. That's how companies live and die. It's apathy. That's how CompUSA, remember all these other companies that used to be on the stock market, that's how they died, because they got soft and they stopped mastering and monitoring the little stuff. And this is the little stuff. 3, you commit to dial days. We're here at the office. We have, how many we got? We got 3 at the office. And this is what boggles me. I'm being real with you. You have a place where people that come win and people aren't there. We got Zoom. People say they want to win, but they're not there. So if you're committed to dial days, you show up at an office or you show it on the virtual office and you dial. Committed means you have a block schedule. You dedicate time to dial a certain amount of leads. Meaning if you're going in-home, you dial Thursdays to book for Friday and Saturday. You dial Mondays to book for Tuesday and Wednesday. Are you committed to making sure you have the time to dial those days, to dial those leads? Like, you literally structure your day so that you can make sure you get enough appointments. No excuses. This is the fuel that makes you run. Without the dials, you got nothing. If you're committed to dialing on a daily, daily if you're doing telesales, right? But at least twice a week to book for the next couple of days, then run with it. And by the way, if you're brand new and hey, maybe your skill set is not high enough, you dial Monday and Tuesday to pack Wednesday. That's what you dial the furthest day out, or you book the furthest day out so that you can make sure that you have enough time. So if you got to dial 2 days to have 15 appointments for the next 2, run with it. Do whatever you got to do, but you got to be committed to those days. If you're like, well, maybe the stars line up, right? If it's an if, give yourself a 0. I'm just being honest with you. If you can't commit to at least starting off the field that's going to make this thing work, it's just not going to work. And here's the truth. Begin with the truth, because you're going to end up with it. Don't be one of those people who 6 months, 3 months on the road, you're like, well, it's not working for me. Well, you knew that from the get-go, because you're going to be honest with yourself, evaluate yourself, and we're going to see what success rate you have to win in this thing. And it has nothing to do with skill. It's just commitment. If you will say, I will do it, I will arrange things, it'll work. If you won't, it won't. I don't care how successful you are. So when I interview now, I talk to people. I'm looking for people who have character and who have a work ethic. I'm not looking for skill anymore. I'm old enough now. You know what gets me excited? When someone actually does what they say they're going to do. That's what I'm looking for. And are you that person that will do what you say you're going to do? Okay, so, and again, give yourself a 10. If you're not, give yourself a 0 if you're not. Run 15 to 30 appointments a week. If you're committed to running that many appointments a week, then do it. Meaning you will do what it takes to run that many appointments. Meaning you will door knock if you're committed. Because here's the truth. I've never had it in my experience where someone runs 30 appointments a week and does not help 30 families a month. I'm telling you, you can take that to the bank. How do you do that? Well, I'll be honest with you. When I don't book 15 appointments for the next couple of days, guess what fills up the slots? You got to go door knock it. You got to go make up those appointments that you missed, maybe in one run day and another run day. It doesn't just go in the way of the wayside, because the formula is guaranteed if you simply run that. So if you're committed part-time, 15 appointments a week, full-time, you're going to run 30 appointments or the equivalent. So 30 appointments a week, or help 15 families during that week. Either way, whichever one comes first, that'll work for you, right? So that's that. If you're committed to doing that, 10. If it's, well, again, you guys are hearing me when I'm telling you this. If there's a lack of commitment somewhere, just give yourself a 0. If you're committed to sharpening your sword daily, meaning you are coming every day, this is a new industry, you are going to, on a daily, listen to a podcast. There's so many. So there's no excuse. It isn't like we're like a proprietary company. Man, there are other companies that search and study our material for the sake of their training. So if you're not committed to, I'm talking on a daily basis, like you get up and part of your study is listening to a podcast. I'm talking even for 10 minutes of how someone does something different. Give yourself a 0. You know what's funny is when someone asks me, hey, Mac, how do you do this? Oh, like, hey, watch this video. Oh, how do you do? Oh, hey, this person had this to say about this. How do you think I found out about that? I watched the videos. Because here's a little fun fact. If you've been in this business for a week, a month, a year, 2 years, it don't matter. Your experience of the business is not necessarily the business. Your experience with the business is just your experience of the business. It may not be the business, meaning your perception might be skewed. Well, how do you know? Did you hear a fish is the last to discover water, right? What if you're in the same boat? What if you're so tunnel vision that you can't get yourself out of it? How do you know there's a different way to see things? Well, that's by sharpening your axe. So every day, if you're not committed to doing it on a daily and you're serious, give yourself a 0. If you are going to do it, give yourself a 10. And then, of course, that's 5. 1 to 5 is if you're simply going to sell. So if you're just selling only, hey, so be it. You're good. Okay. Go and add all those numbers up and divide by 5. That number is you just became Madame Esmeralda. You became a psychic. You just told the world and yourself how successful you're going to be in this business. If you were a bank and these were the credentials a bank was going to use to lend you the money for leads, lend you the money for whatever, yeah, I don't care, whatever this business entailed, and they're looking at their percentage. We know banks, again, I was a banker, they have a scale at which they decide to decline or loan a business money. Would you lend yourself money based on your percentage rate? If you would, great, let's roll. If you wouldn't as a bank lend your own self money based on that commitment level, why would anyone else? So the goal is for you to kind of just be real with yourself and say, you know what, am I being honest with myself about the effort that I'm putting in, the commitment that I'm putting in? Am I taking it seriously, or am I disrespecting the opportunity in front of me? Because you tell me this, you give Warren Buffett $1,000 versus you give a scrub $1,000, Warren will do something with it, right? It isn't because Warren, he always wasn't Warren Buffett. He had a certain work ethic that he used to make sure he maximized that money. So if you're going to build a business, we go a little bit deeper. You need to help too. I mean, 2 people a day in some way, fashion, form need to hear your agency story, the story of why they should be joining, looking at life insurance, getting their license. Or here's a quick, you need at least twice a day, ask the question, hey, do you keep your income option open? Or, hey, maybe you're the client. You ask the question, hey, we have so many people filling out forms that we have more forms than we have agents to fulfill them. Who do you know that's maybe, likes to help people, that's sharp, that's maybe in sales or maybe customer service that might be open to an additional form of income? Yeah, clients. 2 things, guys. Remember, you're either going to have people working for you or money working for you. And this is kind of leading me into what we're going to talk about as far as how to build a business. But think like a business owner. You can't be the only person just buying leads. Use your resources. When you use your clients, they will start referring people to you just like that. Guys, everything else is about building a business. You're going to do the same thing. Give yourself a 10 or a 0. Do you invite to a day? Are you committed to inviting to a day? How hard is it? Go on social media. I mean, it's so easy. So this is what I'm saying. How hard is it to invite to a day, y'all? Like, for real. See, this is what I'm telling you, why this is a litmus test. These things are easy to do and easy not to do, right? They're just as easy either way. Maybe I'll do it. Oh, I'm tired. If you're not willing to do it, that's why it'll tell you the truth of what you're willing to do. Like, it's so easy. Attend a weekly training. That's here. Give yourself a 10 if you'll do it every week. Quarterly conference. We got one coming up. Do you know the date? Every business owner needs a refuel. You should be going to one a quarter. You got to make it. It's not negotiable. People will tell me all the time, Mac, I am solid. I got Haven on my tattooed on my arm. You're not going to make it if you don't go to the fuel stop. Even I need it, right? Personal development. What book are you reading on a daily basis, right? How many are you reading? 10 pages of a personal development book. If you want a book, some of us in the elite group, there's a book that you should get. It's called 4DX. Is the 4 disciplines of execution. Don't be dissuaded by the name. I'm telling you, it will transform you into an execution machine for you to be the best you can be. So a lot of us just don't even know how. Like the things that they'll teach you, it's what Tony Robbins, all these great coaches, you pay them, I'm talking grands, 5, 6, 7, 10 grand. It's right there in a book. If you can just figure a way to slowly eat it up little by little, you can use it and you can apply it to your business. Last couple of things and we'll move on. Find a workout partner. Do you have someone that you hold accountable or that you are held accountable to? Do you? If you don't, that's a problem. Because I know MJ, every athlete that's ever excelled, they have an accountability partner. And then, of course, are you committed to being here 1 year from now? That's it, yo. If we stop today, right now, that would be all we need. But I want you to be honest with yourself, because there is no purpose in starting something that you do not intend to finish, because all you do is waste your time. Just being real. And a lot of people, they waste their time because they either are not real with themselves or they don't have anyone hold them accountable. So I am holding you accountable to your activity and to what you're saying you're going to do and what you're going to do. And here's the truth. If you at least are honest with yourself about where you stand, that's a good place to start as far as a relationship, because some of us, we have a toxic relationship with ourselves. We say, I'm going to do this. Guess what ourselves says? Liar. Man, you said you were going to do that last week. You know you didn't do it. At least you'll say, you know what? No, I know right now I'm not committed to that, but I want to be. So I'm going to do this tomorrow. I'm going to schedule my day to do this. And you can start building from a relationship of trust. A lot of us are cheating on ourselves. We are dating success, but courting failure. We're players. And you tell me, any of y'all women, men, you ever had a relationship where someone was doubling you, like playing you? How did you feel? When they said something, how did you feel about it? You see what I'm saying? It's literally the same thing. So let me stop on that bandwagon and move on. So how to build a successful business. Thank you, Ron. So post your percentage of success in the chat if you're being honest with yourself. And the goal is every week when we start this thing, without even me mentioning it, boom, we should see percentages. Hey, this week I held myself accountable. I looked at the Haven 12. Here's where I'm at. And if anyone wants a copy of it, let me know. It's actually on the Telegram, but you should have this plastered on your wall for you to be pushing this. So make sure you're accountable to yourself. Let's talk about how to build a successful business, what I wish I knew before I started. So the first thing is the goal is to be profitable. We get in this business for profitability, no other reason. In order to build a profitable business, we have to, keyword, we have to be the first person that's profitable. Now, think of any business that's successful. What is the structure? Now, I want to make sure we're clear. Some of us confuse the fact that they confuse being an entrepreneur with being a business owner. A lot of us, you are just an entrepreneur. You're just a business. Entrepreneurs actually have a business, meaning like they got capital, they're new to the game, but they're kind of moving forward and they have a structure. An entrepreneur don't mean that you just, started something. No, that's not what I said what it means. You have a job. FFL, you got a job. Okay? Meaning you are a salesperson. In order for this business to work, you have to generate cash flow. You got to be the first person. You are your own bank. Most businesses that start like this, they start something or they create some kind of business plan. They take it to a bank and they say to the bank, hey, does my plan make enough sense for you all to invest in me to start this structure? I'm going to need X amount of dollars for my staff, X amount of dollars for my product. And within a couple of years, because my idea is great, I'll be able to not only pay it off, but I'll be way more ahead. That's how a lot of traditional businesses start. But in this day and age, the gig age, you can become your own bank, especially in this business, because we live in an advanced world. Now, if we were getting paid as earned, it wouldn't work that way. We are literally getting an interest-free loan on these policies. So here's what I mean by that. In a business, you need a couple of things. You need staff, right? That's the thing you're going for. So you need to be doing 30 a month in this business if you're serious about actually building your business, because the truth is it's tough building a business if you're doing under 30 a month, okay? Helping 30 families a month. It's very, very tough. What do you need? Well, you're going to break up your profit and just fast forward. You're already committed to the things we talked about. You're now doing 30 a month. What do you do with your money? This is what I wish I knew, because when I was making money, I had no idea what would be more effective. So when I'm bringing X amount of dollars a month, you have two options. You can be scared and go hoard your money, put it in the bank account because you never had this money before. You're scared. You don't know, like, if you're like me, I was like, man, I mean, let's go ahead and do more of this before the accounting department realizes they're paying us this much. I couldn't believe they were paying me that much. Or you can have confidence in you and invest so you can get more, right? So what do? You want to break it up in, honestly, 30s. You need staff. Well, what does that mean? Well, let's say you do 30 a month. You're automatically going to have 30% of your business outgoing to your business. What I mean by that is staff. Like your staff is going to be, I mean, 30%, that's about 10. Let's just say 10 grand of that's going to be your staff. A recruiter, let's say an admin, admin first to take care of your business, or a recruiter as well. You're looking at about $3,500 each as far as salaries. Now, hiring the right person, that's a whole different ballgame, different time for that kind of training. But you're going to need someone to man these little slots. Think about it. When you go into a business, is there a greeter, right? Is there someone that is the receptionist? No. Is there a recruiting department? Is there a retention department? Like you see all these departments that exist in a real business. So if you're thinking about building this right, you got to begin with the end in mind. That's what you're going for. But what's going to fund it is you. So let's say 10 grand of that is going to be that. Now, for me, I pay myself about that. So about 30%. And typically for business owners, you want to pay yourself about 25 to 30% of the profit of what you're bringing in. So household goes to pay that. So that's taken care of. And you literally just pay yourself. If you're serious about being a business owner, you would actually just create a payroll where every 15th first, it just comes out. Trust me, I know I was scared out of my mind knowing that X amount of dollars was going to come out at a certain time. I get it, but it'll push you because you know that that's coming out. And again, you look back at the systematic process of your business. As long as you buy, dial, run, it'll always work. It gives you a lot of confidence in that the system has worked. You don't want to build something that's people dependent. You want to build a system dependent business, meaning if you died or if something happened, someone else would come in and they can buy your business. If your business is built on you, no one will ever buy it. You will be a high paid salesperson, but no one would ever buy your business. And that's the whole goal, is to be able to run away or duplicate something where people can win. And if you're duplicating just high paid salespeople who don't have a system, man, it's going to be a tough while because those people will burn out. They will burn out. And then you're just creating a wheel of people just burning out. Anyway, so you want to create staff. So pay yourself 30% is your business. 30% is you. And 30%, of course, is leads. And the truth is, you may or may not have much left. Being real, everyone has a drop-off point. This is just a vehicle. If you have a vehicle of, hey, I want to go to, I've always wanted to develop or make enough money to be able to go invest in Airbnbs. Hey, if you get there, run with it. I want to always make enough money to go X school to be an underwater basket weaver. Run with it. Like, whatever your stop is, there's nothing wrong with stopping. Just making sure that you build a system that is going to be conducive to holding it up. Because what you don't want is this. Listen, the chargeback rate, normally you're looking about 30%. If you sell 30 grand, all right, 30 grand, out of that, let me do a calculation, times 0.3. Yeah, I was right, about 8 grand. So about 8 grand of that is going to fall off. Okay, that's just the way it works. So that means next month you need to sell 38, right, to compensate for what fell off. What you don't want to do is you run hard. This month you help and you do 30 grand, and then you want to go do 10 next month. You ever gone to a car or been in a car where someone's going 60 miles an hour and then they slam on the brakes? How does that feel? That's what you're doing in your business. If you're going to slow down, you better slow down, make it comfortable. You can't just all of a sudden, because you will get problem with your business's neck, back. It might hurt for weeks. Whiplash, things you think didn't affect you, they will affect you long term. So you want to make sure that you structure it that way to make sure that you're safe, that you create that structure. Guys, I mean, that's the long and the short of it. Be honest with yourself on your trajectory. Make sure that you evaluate yourself every week. Make sure you understand that I forgot to mention that. Make sure that you have to build a business. You're going for the structure. If anyone is questioning where you are, because I need steps, you are first working hard to be a high paid salesperson. And the difference between you doing that or not, it's just effort. It's this stuff. If you will not commit to this small stuff, then maybe you should be a recruiter. Maybe you should specialize in a different field. Maybe your game is recruiting. If you've already gotten money game knocked out and you just want to recruit, do that, because there are people that are more committed than you. Maybe their lifetime is different, where they can actually dedicate the time to doing this right. Last couple of things, and guys, as you got questions, if there are any Q&A, drop them in the chat. I'll definitely let you know. The hardest thing in this business that I wish I knew was getting writing agents. That was the hardest thing. The first 20 writing agents would be like, it's going to be like going in the desert. You'll wonder if you don't have a system, and this is what happened to me, you'll wonder if anyone's listening. But the truth is, if you simply, like the dancing man, you stick around for a while, the right people will show up, as long as your filters are correct. If your filters are off and you're recruiting the wrong people, it'll just be a revolving door. But if you get intentional about the people that you're looking for and your vibrations are correct, you're intentional, you're always going to find the right people. The question is, do you have enough horsepower to last? Are you a 2-cylinder or are you a V8? That's the truth, man. Do you have the heart to stick around? And because if you ever come to the point where you think you're going to quit, welcome to the business. That means if you haven't gotten to the point where you everything is great, woo, this is awesome, yeah, you haven't woken up yet, because it's supposed to be hard. Think about it. If it was great all the time, there would be no opportunity for anybody, right? Because everyone would do it. So if you got to that point, of course, you got to make sure that you evaluate yourself, and life is good. Anyway, drop down any questions got in the chat, guys. There's 2 more things that I wanted to share. I'm just looking at my notes here, and then we'll call it good if you got no questions. All right, I'm going to ask you this question. The level of thinking that some of us have is costing us money. So that's the reason that we read books and we listen to the podcast to hope expand our mind. We got the same leads, the same compensation, but we are having different results. How is that working? It's only because of the way we're thinking, right? So there's a certain method of thinking that will maximize our personality no matter what. And that level of thinking is, if you're having the success you want, that's your level of thinking. But if you're not, you got to adopt a different way. So I wanted to ask yourself, how much are you generating right now? And how much is your current level of thinking costing you? Write that down. If you're supposed to be doing 30 a month and you're only doing 2, your level of thinking is costing you 28 grand a month. So, I mean, if you put that in numbers, you got if you were a boss and that employee was costing you 28 grand a month, what would you do to that employee? You let them go. Some of us, we need to let ourselves go, like fire ourselves, like for real. And if that person shows up the next day, what do? Call security, right? They just won't leave, right? So keep that in mind as you go through, is what is costing you? What kind of thinking is costing you? And sometimes the things we think are actually helping us, they're actually hurting us, okay? Last couple of things is, are you intentional enough about your business that you know it intimately? Some of us don't know this, and if you don't, that means you're not really in it to win it. Do you know when that Americo summary comes? About 1 o'clock in the morning, well, at least for me, right? Because it's, Central Time, about 12, 1 o'clock. Do you know when that Mutual of Omaha commission summary comes? It's about 3 or 4. Are you intentional? Do you know the ins and outs of your business, or are you just still dabbling? Now, if you're brand new, I get it. Your job is to dabble hard on the basics, on that stuff that we just talked about. But if you're simply just dabbling, and just gonna, unfortunately, you won't go fast enough for it to make sense. So the goal isn't to browbeat anyone. The goal is to be honest, because this is Sparta. Like, this is the NBA, this is the NHL, this is the MLB of our industry. And this is not for the weak of heart. But the most important thing is, listen, we can run with 1,000, but you can't drag one dead body. But the cool thing is, If we all work together, we'll get there further. The goal is not by getting there fast, it's simply by getting there further. So if you want to recommit yourself, now will be the time. Last thing I'll share this is committing to the daily disciplines, FFL home office and going to an office. If you are looking for something to commit to that would be what they call a quantum leap, like some of us don't go to an office or we don't plug into one virtually. There are reasons we have for not doing that. Let me be the one to maybe suggest that reason is costing you money. If it was convenient, you probably would do it. But if it's not convenient, that might be the very thing you need to do. So my recommendation is the more times you are plugged into the office, the more times you're going to win. So if you're not committing to an office, it might be a 40-minute drive. The question is it worth it? And I would say yes. If not, and if it's like a 3-hour drive, there's no one near you, plug into the Zoom. So if any of us are not where we want to be and we're not plugged in, and maybe we're plugged in, my question to you is, how can you get more from it? Are you asking enough questions? And if you ask the questions, you'll get the answers you need. So guys, if there are no questions, that said, you guys know where to find me. Take care, take charge. We'll see you guys next week. Bye for now.